Right. Before we start, I think it's elementary by now. But for the benefit of those who've not participated in any of our online media briefings, just a couple of ground rules, and that is that you switch off both your camera and your microphone. You show by a show of hands the emoji that you want to ask a question. I will call you out. You can activate your mic, and then you can tell me to who you want to post your question. It's as simple as that. And if once you're done, if you can just lower your hand, and after you finished your question, if you can then deactivate your mic again and keep it off, please, because if it's open and you type, then it does influence the broadcast quality of the recording. Okay, let's see who can set us off. Ken Boland, do you mind setting us off? Good morning, South African time.
Morning, Round. Thanks very much. Morning, Bongi. Morning, Deon. Bongi, just for you to start off. Obviously, the last 2 weekends, the Springboks haven't performed to the levels that they did say against the British and Irish Lions. No doubt there are lots of reasons for that, but are you guys feeling a bit low on mental energy? Has it? I mean, it's obviously been a lot of games on successive weekends, not just physically fatigued, but mentally fatigued. Are those factors you feel?
Yeah, morning, Ken. Yeah, I mean, yeah, from my side personally, obviously, it's been quite a busy international. Yeah, there's been quite a lot of games being played, but at the moment I must say that yeah, we're all professional here in the Springbok setup, and yeah, we just take it week by week and day by day, and yeah, we know that the past 2 weeks the result hasn't gone our way, but yeah, we've put that behind us now. We're just focusing on the next challenge that's ahead of us.
Okay, thank you, Bongi. Right, Nathan Gogela.
Good evening, guys. Morning to the rest of the media. I just got 2 questions. I'll start with Coach Deon. Coach D, new week, different team, who pose a lethal threat on attack. From last week as a coach, how would you go about things this week after 2 consecutive losses?
Yeah, Nathan, I think it's important that you always look objectively in terms of your performance the previous week. I think high performance sport and at this level teach you that you got to take the emotion as quickly as possible out of your game and start looking at objectively in terms of your plan and especially how that plan was executed. And it's also important that you from there and then stay on task in terms of the next challenge. So for us, we would first be to say that, listen, we did not perform up to standard. We've looked at those reasons. I think we've had in-depth discussions about it and look at ourselves. But now it's a new opportunity playing against the quality side like New Zealand for the next 2 weeks. I think all the players are looking forward towards that, and then we know that going into this game, we can't dwell on things that is in the past. Important for us is to focus what we need to do and where we need to improve. And I think all the players are really excited to get going and to see that we prepare effectively to put up a better performance this weekend on the field.
And then for Bongi, on behalf of the players, what do you think went wrong? Because, I mean, you did have time now to review the game. And is it fixable moving forward, especially this week against a formidable outfit in the All Blacks?
Yeah, I think we've gone through the game and we've all sat in the meeting and yeah, we've just all recognized our mistakes, and yeah, we know that there's always room for improvement, and yeah, I think every player is professional here enough to know that where the errors were made, and obviously it's a new week for us, a new challenge ahead, and yeah, I mean all the mistakes that were made, they are very fixable, and that's what we're going to be working on this week.
Thank you, Bongi. Kobus Klaasen, good morning.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning and evening, Bongi and Coach Deon. My question is for Coach Deon. Deon, is there concern in the squad that the Boks go into Saturday's test against the All Blacks with a big dent in confidence?
No. Obviously, when you lose a test or when you lose 2 consecutive games, it's just natural that you get a bit emotional, or that you look at the reasons that might be there that actually are not the case. So for us, it's just important to take a step back and look at us as a team in terms of what is our strength, what is our weaknesses, what did we do well in the past, what are we not doing here. We review our plans that we had against Australia, and in terms of our execution of that, and obviously also you look at individual performances. But the most important thing is to understand what you as a team want to achieve, what you want to do with the ball, where and when on the field, and if you act accordingly. And if you have clarity in terms of that, and you understand the opponent, then a new game is a new challenge. And when it comes to New Zealand, obviously you got to be good in all the areas, and technically and also technically. And I think for these players or this team, they've been in this position before. We've lost against the British and Irish Lions the first test. I think in the World Cup also they've lost the first test against New Zealand, and from them they were able to pick them up. So there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of understanding in the squad in terms of what went wrong and what needs to be done, and I'm hopeful and confident that the players will pitch and play towards the standard that we've been known of.
Right, Craig Lewis, you're up next.
Thanks, Ray. Just a quick one for each. Deon, to you first. Is Cheslin Colby back in team training this week? And then just to Bongi, in terms of looking at the All Blacks, obviously they've been in really good form and brought a lot of attacking variety and are leading all the attacking stats. How do you guys foresee shutting them down and being able to contend with that?
Cheslin Colby is still doubtful. He's part of training. He's now returned to the training field doing exercises. So he's returned to training, but he's still doubtful for this upcoming game.
Yeah, when it comes to All Blacks, obviously they pose a different challenge than the one we faced 2 weeks ago. But yeah, we're just going to focus on ourselves and the training that we need to put in this week, and make sure that we execute our training and make sure they pitch up on Saturday.
Thanks, Bongi. Brendan Nell.
Deon, yeah, it's maybe a bit of an unfair question for you because you're not the defense coach, but you guys have missed 40 tackles in the last 2 games. You're a side that prides yourself on defense. It's one of the huge hallmarks of your game. What has gone wrong? Is it mental fatigue, and how do you rectify it?
That's a difficult question, Brendan. But yeah, I think you got, as I said, you got to look objectively in terms of when the tackles was made, where it was made, and why it happened. Obviously, we always look whether it's a system error. We always assess whether it's a technical error or whether it's just effort. Sometimes also in games, if you look at that, it happens that you lose a player with a yellow card, and that also put a bit of the pressure on your system. So and then obviously also you try to paint pictures of the opposition that you played, and within that you have to look at how that was executed from an individual perspective and from a system perspective. So at this point in time, I think we are looking in depth in terms of that. I think there is understanding in terms of what we can do better. And I think we also understand that the threats that the All Blacks will bring, and it's important for us as a team to ensure that from a system and individual and from an effort perspective that we are on par and put up a better performance according to our standards in this game.
Thank you, Deon. Nathan and Ken, I see that both of your hands are up again. Nathan, is this a fresh question?
Yes, it is, Ray.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Coach D, again, the common question after the game, you did mention the status of Chezi, but are there any other immediate injury reports after the game? Have medicals been done yet?
Yeah, medicals and normal protocols has been followed, Nathan. Obviously, there's after 15 weeks, there's a lot of niggles here and there, but all the players were able to train. Guy like Lode Jager that had concussion, he was also back in training. So yeah, the players were fit. They were on the field. They trained. As I said, only a guy like Cheslin is now returned to training, so he's busy getting ready and accessed accordingly. Yeah. So, but with the broader squad, if I can answer your question, the broader squad are available for selection for this coming week.
Thank you, Deon. Ken?
Thanks, Rian. Bongi, you've obviously played against the All Blacks before. Deon, I think this is the first time you're going to be coaching against them. Can I just ask you, gentlemen, what it means, the 100th test against the old foe? What does it mean for you guys personally to be heading into this milestone match?
Listen, we understand that there's a big rivalry between South Africa and New Zealand, and we respect that rivalry. But we've also have learned from the past that milestones can put a sort of or can influence your performances. And for us, the only focus is to focus on our next performance, and that is important for us for this coming week.
Bongi, please.
Yeah, I mean, to back exactly what Coach Deon just said now, the rivalry against South Africa and New Zealand will always be massive. Yeah, I mean, it's a massive milestone for World Rugby itself. But yeah, we're just going to focus on ourselves and keep doing our process that we've been doing throughout the whole week and throughout the whole competition. And we're just going to focus on ourselves and rectify our mistakes.
Thank you. Adnan Mohammed?
Hi, good evening, guys. Just a question to Deon. I don't know if you saw the former New Zealand coach, Laurie Mains, the 75-year-old, spoke about 4 or 5 Springboks, current Springboks that he feels are not good enough for test level. I just wanted your thoughts on something like that.
Adnan, unfortunately, I didn't read the article, but I can assure you that the players that we have in our camp is here on merit after a thorough selection process according to criteria that we as coaches identified. So in my doubt, I don't think for us that's the case. Coaches have different philosophies and have different ideas about players. It was always there, and it still will always be there in the future. So that's the opinion of one man, and maybe I think he's got the right to his opinion, but unfortunately, that's not my opinion. I think a lot of us sitting here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adnan. Thank you, Deon. Percival Young.
Goeiedag sê Rian, goeiedag sê Bongi, goeiedag sê Coach David. Rian, ek wil baie graag 2 Afrikaanse vrae vra. Moet ek maar eers een vraag op slag vra?
Een op slag, Percy. Ons weet, ja, dank. Reg?
Baie dankie meneer Adrianse. Meneer David, kan ek dan vra my eerste vraag net? 'n vraag was nou aan Bongi gevra en ek wil die vraag op 'n soortgelyke vraag vra, miskien op 'n ander manier. Jy het 'n redelike rang besige programs, internasionale programs sover gehad sedert daai eerste toets teen Georgië, meneer. Kan ek dan vra, is daar dalk 'n moontlikheid, is daar dalk 'n risiko dat baie van julle spelers nou al geestelik en liggaamlik uitgeput is, veral in ag genome julle het uit mergelende Britse Ierse leeu's toer gehad, julle 2 moeilike wedstryde in Australië gehad en nou hierdie volgende 2 weke moet julle as 'n groep, as wêreldkampioene op die hoogste vlak nog steeds vertoon as julle nie 'n vernedering wil veroorsaak nie.
Ja, Pers, ek dink wetenskaplik sal dit seker, en ek is nie 'n wetenskaplike nie, maar ek dink dit is seker 'n feit dat na 15 weke van kompetisie dat daar is liggaamlike en geestelike uitdagings, natuurlik ook ons met die COVID pandemie en die omstandighede wat ons moes voorberei op die uitdagings wat ons moes oorbrug. Aan die einde van die dag sal dit natuurlik een of ander tipe van uitwerking hê op die spelers, of dit nou geestelik is of dit nou liggaamlik is. So, maar ons as 'n groep het natuurlik ook, toe ons hierdie kompetisie begin het ons 'n duidelike idee gehad van watter uitdagings ons voor lê. En ons het soos met verloop van tyd, soos dinge gebeur het ons as 'n groep, ek dink natuurlik goed aangepas by die omstandighede. So ek kan nie die spelers en die res van die bestuurspan komplimenteer vir die manier van hoe hulle aangepas het by abnormale omstandighede. Maar ek kan jou verseker dat met 2 weke oor van 'n uitgemergelde seisoen, met die wete dat ons teen van die beste spanne in die wêreld speel, teen Nieu-Seeland speel, ek dink daar's niks wat soveel meer uit spelers uitbring as om hulle beste te gee teen 'n span soos Nieu-Seeland nie. En ek dink selfs daai omstandighede gaan nie, of dit wat dit ook al is, indien daar enigiets is, gaan nie in die pad staan van die spelers om hulle beste te doen op die oefenveld en om hulle beste te gee vir die volgende 2 Saterdae. Ek dink dit is maar 'n deel van die DNA van die span en die karakter van die spelers en die professionaliteit wat hulle al gewys het oor die paar maande. En ons is hier, ons pas aan, ons vat dit dag vir dag en ons sien uit na die week se wedstryd.
Percy, jou tweede en laaste vraag.
Ek sê baie dankie, Ryan. Coach Davies, kan ek net die vraag vra en ek hoop jy kan vir ons as joernaliste in jou vertroue neem. As 'n lid van die Springbok bestuur, kan ek net vra en ek is bly jy het dit self gestel dat sommige kere moet jy baie gou die emosie uit 'n wedstryd, uit 'n nederlaag uit weghaal. Kan ek jou vra, hoe hanteer julle as bestuurslede, as lede van 'n groter Springbok groep, dissipline binne julle groep? Ek weet julle hanteer dit intern, maar kan jy dalk vir ons 'n idee gee hoe julle dissipline hanteer in die aanloop tot hierdie groot 2 wedstryde wat voorlê? Van die terme wat die afgelope 2 weke baie duidelik gebruik was, veral deur die hoofafrigter, was 'n gebrek aan dissipline, swak dissipline, en julle verdediging het julle in die steek gelaat vir al die afgelope naweek. Hoe word dissipline intern hanteer, veral aan die lig wat die afgelope Saterdag gebeur het in Rivalry?
In die Springbokkamp het ons 'n baie deursigtige proses en 'n groot aspek van die span is ook die aanvaarding van verantwoordelikheid. So ek dink vir hierdie spelers op hierdie vlak, met dit wat hulle al bereik het, ek dink as hulle deeglik bewus van wat hulle reg doen en wat hulle verkeerd doen, indien daar iets sou wees op of van die veld, en wat die regte optrede is, en wat dit verg om vir die Springbokke te speel en wat 'n besondere voorreg is om dit te doen. So ons probeer almal as volwassenes hanteer en almal moet verantwoordelikheid aanvaar van dinge wat binne die kamp gebeur en ek dink met daardie ingesteldheid is daar baie vertroue dat wat dit ook al gebeur, dat die spelers weet wat is die regte manier om dit reg te stel. So ek dink as jy daardie openlikheid het en daardie deursigtigheid het en hulle verstaan dat alles op hierdie vlak hang van homself af in terme van wat hy moet doen om die beste te wil wees, dan glo ons dat 'n speler om baie gou in 'n posisie kan sit om aan te beweeg en te begin fokus op die taak wat voor lê.
Baie dankie.
Thank you, Percy. Heinz Schenk, you have a question?
Thanks, Rayan. Ekskuus Deon, ek het ook gewag vir die Afrikaanse gedeelte want ek wou nou nie noodwendig hierdie vraag, jy weet, heeltemal vra in die nitty-gritty van die Springbokke en dinge nie. Ek het maar net gewonder, jy het baie ervaring gehad as 'n franchise afrigter in die Pro 14 met die Kings en dinge. Ek weet dis nou nie noodwendig hoog op julle prioriteitslys nie, maar julle hou maar tog 'n oogie daarop en dinge. En ek het maar net gewonder, hoe voel jy as 'n deel van die Springbok afrigtingsspan oor julle franchise se nuwe avontuur, jy weet, in Europa, net in die geheel, hoe sien jy daai uitdaging en verrykendheid, wil ek amper sê, vir hulle? En dan dink jy dit gaan help dat hulle actually hulle Europese ervaring kan slyp, jy weet, 4 weke op die pad, jy weet, dis nie heen en weer aanvanklik nie, hulle kan 'n bietjie 'n goeie blik kry op Europese toestande?
Ja, ek dink uit my ervaring van Pro 14 rugby, ek dink en dit wat jy op toetsvlak ervaar, ek dink daar is in verskillende aspekte van die spel baie noue ooreenkomste in die sin dat as jy kyk op die veld is 'n baie groot fokus natuurlik op jou vaste fasette. Ek dink ook in terme van jou wat ons in Engels noem jou kicking game, dit word in verskillende omstandighede word daar verskillende vaardighede van jou verwag om uit te stal om effektief te wees op daardie vlak. Ook natuurlik as jy kyk na die verskillende spanne wat jy speel week in en week uit, jy speel teen verskillende lande, jy speel ook teen spanne wat deur verskillende afrigters met verskillende agtergronde van verskillende lande met verskillende filosofieë speel jy teen mekaar week in en week uit. Met ander woorde, daar is verskillende benaderings. Jy speel in warm en koue weeromstandighede. Jy speel op verskillende veldoppervlaktes, soms op gras en dan soms op sintetiese velde. So daar's baie veranderlikes wat verskillende uitdagings vir jou bring in so 'n kompetisie. En ek dink dit bring verskillende uitdagings vir die spelers in terme van hulle vaardighede. Dit bring ook verskillende uitdagings vir die afrigters in terme van die planne wat hulle maak teen verskillende spanne week in en week uit. En dan om ook aan te pas by die verskillende omstandighede. So in geheel dink ek verbreed die vaardigheidsvlak van die spelers, dit verbreed ook die ervarings van die afrigters en die spanne, en ek dink as jy daai kennis dit kan bring na 'n hoër vlak toe, dan kan dit net tot voordeel wees van Suid-Afrikaanse rugby vorentoe.
Thank you, Deon. If you may, if I can pause very quickly before, if there's no more questions, then we can conclude. But it was a good question there posed by Hans Schenk in Afrikaans. The English, he asked Deon to give his impressions about the forthcoming European adventure participation of South African franchise teams in the European competition. Obviously, he said that from his experience, both in Pro 14 formerly and now test level, he sees a lot of similarities in terms of the set piece, the kicking game. There's a lot of challenges for both the players and the coaching staff in terms of the weather conditions, the playing surfaces, the different styles of play in different countries, and he sees it as a nice challenge for players, for the teams, and something which will obviously broaden their experience, which those players then is selected for the national side can then bring again to the table. Deon, I hope that that was what you said in a nutshell in English. There being no more questions, thank you very much, ladies and gents. That then conclude our half an hour with Bongi and with Deon from our base here in Townsville in Queensland. And tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. We will be back with our team announcement, which will be led by the head coach, Jacques Ninaber, who will name the side, the Springbok side, to play against the All Blacks this coming Saturday. Thank you very much, and speak to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.